It's funny because everyone starts ordering when sales come through and I get emails for everybody that's put an order in. Hi Cara, you alright? I'll just let you know there's another sale come through from Sweaty Betty's with up to 60% off. But then there's my discount on top of it as well. So you can get up to about, well, yeah, quite a lot of some stuff. Yeah, I get 30% off, so you can kind of put your stuff in your shopping basket, then log into my account and it knocks another 30% off. One lady just rang me and said it might be better if you take your bank details out there, your card details, run there, and people might just click on your card by mistake and might end up paying for everybody. So I'm like, good point, just take that out. Know what we're all going to be doing this evening? We'll be watching Spain play football. Right, so we'll do some Pilates first so you can shop. So I'll mute the sound and we shall get ready to go. Perfect. Tip myself over. Alright, ladies, so start from that perfect posture to begin. Just set the feet hip distance apart. Let your weight sit into your heels and then just relax in through your knees. Breathe in and grow tall. As you breathe out, let the ribs soften down a little towards your hips. Gently roll the shoulders back and then pull the shoulder blades down to the back of the rib cage. And as you pull up through the crown of the head, then draw the chin back towards the throat. So instantly you should feel some of the deeper muscles, the lengthening through the neck. The work just underneath the shoulder blades as you draw your shoulder blades down. Your upper abs starting to work to hold the rib cage in place. And then we're going to come to our lower abdominals. So from here, if you just gently tuck under your tailbone, you feel how then your lower abdominals engage as well. And that creates that little square between your ribs and hips that you need to maintain for at least 45 minutes. So once you've created your square, the shoulders stay drawn back and down. We're just going to take a breath in, and with the out breath, just a little sway over to the right. In breath to the centre, and out breath over to the left. Now at this point, the feet stay flat, and you're just moving through the ankles. Keep the tailbone drawn down to the heels. So as we move from side to side, we're trying to maintain that distance between the ribs and the hips. Keep the shoulder blades drawing down to the back of the ribs. And then as you sway to your left, you lift your right heel and then your right knee. And then your big toe to the floor, and then roll through the foot onto the heel. Sway to your right, lift the knee, just in line with the hip. Taking a breath in. So as you breathe out, gently draw the tummy in and then lift with the knee. Breath in through the nose and then breathing out through the mouth. So again, we're still trying to maintain the distance between the ribs and the hips, especially when we lift the knee, because we don't want the pelvis to tilt backwards and the lower back to flatten. So you've got that constant feeling like you've got a piece of string attached to the crown of the head and it's pulling you up to the ceiling and holding you really, really tall. Now from here, we're going to come into a double arm float. First of all, draw the shoulder blades down to the back of the ribs. And as you lift your heel, lift the arms, and then take a breath in. Use the out breath, draw the abdominals in, breathe out with a lift, and a breath in as you lower. Again, still working to maintain the length in your spine and your neutral spine at the bottom. Now from here, we add on. So we're going to hold at the top, extend the leg behind, tipping forward from the hips, squeeze the shoulder blades together, bring the knee back in line with the hip, and then come back to your set position. So we sway, heel lifts, then knee lifts. Tip forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And as you tip forward, try avoid flaring with the ribs. Because sometimes try and keep the head up, so when we push the leg back, the back arches. We want to drop the ribs down, so as you tip forward, you're still maintaining that alignment through your spine. Breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Gentle breath in and out to settle. Okay, your own time. We're going to do 2 more of those on each side. Keeping the standing knee nice and soft. Bring the shoulders all the way back above the hips. And trying to make that transition really seamless from one side to the other. One last one each side. And then we're going to add on a So from here, the next time you come up with your right leg, you're going to hold at the top, tip forward. Then you bend your front knee to reach your foot back to the floor, press out the front heel, then bring the knee in and back to centre. So we lift, reach back, bend the front knee and try and reach your foot as far back as you can, and then pressing out the front heel, knee lifts and back into the centre. Going the belly in, tipping, then reaching back onto the ball of your foot, press out the front heel, keeping the balance, and then stepping back into the centre. We're going to do that again twice more on each side. So when you go back here, feel your weight sits back into the bottom, so that when you push out the heel and come forwards, you're really starting to work into your glutes for that lift. Ribs down towards the hips, reaching back, almost rolling onto the heel, and then pushing out the front heel, and then back into the centre. One last time each side. Nice and slow as you ease into that stretch. And your last one here. Press down to the heel so you get a nice stretch into the calves. Bring the knee back in line with the hip, and then settle in centre. So from centre, we're going to step our right foot forward into our tandem stance. Relax through both knees. Draw down with the tailbone, settle into the shoulders, and lift your left hand. As you breathe in, ease into your side bend to the right. As you breathe out, bringing the shoulders back above the hips. So both knees stay relaxed. Trying to keep the weight evenly placed through both feet. And then just trying to allow yourself to reach a little further towards the ground. As you're reaching towards the ground, also try and reach up with your elbow. So you just create a little bit more stretch, not to mention your balance. So your low ceiling does come in handy sometimes. Breathing through the nose. As you rise, that's where you breathe out through the mouth. You just restack your spine. I'm blaming the paint fumes. Bring the paint fumes all there. And two more to this side before I fall over completely. You might find all the weight's going into your back foot, so it's trying to just keep it evenly placed through both feet. And then resting before I fall over. And changing sides, so your left in front of your right. Big toe touching the centre of the heel, and all 10 toes set facing forward. Neutral spine, pulling up through the head, rolling back with the shoulders, and then your right hand lifts, knees are soft, breathing in, easing down to the left. And then breathing out, feel each vertebrae restacking. And you're trying to keep the ear in line with the shoulder. So you're always moving directly down to the side. Sometimes the head comes forward, the shoulder rolls forward, it completely changes our alignment. And we lose that little bit of stretch through the waist. So again, feel like you've got two directional pull. One hand pulling down to the floor, and then the opposite elbow pulling upwards towards the ceiling. Take the breath in nice and slow as you lower down, and then a really strong out breath as you rise. Your last one. And then settling back into the centre. Hand down and feet hip distance. Lifting both arms so that you're still in line with your shoulders, drawing the shoulders down and the ribs, tucking under with your tailbone. Your right heel lifts and your left arm. Now we're going to alternate with the feet and alternate the arms. As you're moving the arms, you start to focus on your rib cage. So you're making sure you don't flare the ribs as you lift the arm. Using those upper abs there just to slightly pin the ribs down. So then it helps you to bring, and I get my opposite arm and leg right, helps to bring a little bit more mobility and movement through the shoulders. Sometimes if we're a little stiff through the shoulders, that's when we tend to use the back more. So keep the chin in, the eye gaze fixed forward, and start to really roll through the feet, so you're pushing your knee in line with your toes. Now try and keep the heels off the ground if you can. So you're really starting to work into mobilising the ankles and creating stability through the ankles too. As well as keeping perfect posture and perfect alignment. Your last two again on each side, and we're going to add that into our lunges a little later. So when you finish here with your last one, just bring both heels and both arms down. Take the feet, widen the hips, tailbone tucks, into our squat, double arm lift and a double heel lift. So the knees want to be out towards the toes. Slide back into your hips, keeping your neutral spine. Lift both heels, both arms. Place the heels and the arms down, and then rise. So from the side, hips slide back, tailbone is tucked. Lifting, lowering, and squeezing the bottom on the way up. Breathing through the nose, out through the mouth, in, out with a lift. Now, if you feel ready at the bottom, you can stay and work with 3 heel raises. So if you can, for 3, place the heels down. 2, keeping the tailbone tucked. 1, push through both heels and rise. Again, hips back, belly drawn in. Breathing out through the mouth each time you lift. Arms go no further than the ears, and then pushing up through the heels. 4 more sets. If the set of 3 at the bottom feels a little bit too much, you can either stay with 2 or you can stay with singles. But hopefully you're starting to feel your quads working. You're making sure the knees are gently pressing outwards towards the little toes. So if you glance down, you should always be able to see your big toes to the inside of the knees. The out breath strong each time you lift. And you have one last set of your 3. So you can lift the heels a little higher. Coming right up onto the balls of your feet. And then push through the heels and reset. Right, from here, taking your right leg forward, we're going to come back to the foot pedals and the seesaw arms. So we're going to square the hips first, tuck under at the bottom so you've got the hips, shoulders and ears aligned, and then roll the shoulders back. As you lower your back knee, just bring the arms forward, keeping the trunk of the body still, scissor the arms, and then pull down with the hands. Keeping the shoulder blades drawn down as you move the arms. You're trying not to move the trunk of the body. Now the front knee just stacks over the heel, and then push out your front heel as you rise. 1 more time. Then we're going to add in the heel raise. Now it's 2 heel raises. Stay here. If you can, lift your heel, place it down. Lift it again, place it down, and then pull up tall. Keep tucking under with the bottom, so as you lower the knee, you're finding the stretch into the front of your thigh. Again, you should be able to see your big toe to the inside of the knee. So you want to feel the knee gently presses out towards the little toe to help maintain that knee-hip alignment. And you only have 1 left with lots of breath. Out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath. Push out the front heel, lift, arms up, and again pushing out the front heel. Now when you lift that back leg nice and strong and straight, sweep the arms back so you're getting a really strong squeeze into the shoulder blades and starting to build more power and strength through that front leg. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth as you tip forward, and your last 2, and your 1, hold at the top. Bring your knee in, and then just go for the extension. Push the toes back, reach the arms forward, and as you do this, don't follow the dog, draw the belly in towards the back. So as you're moving the arms and the leg, trunk of the body stay nice and strong. 3, 2, your 1, and step in. And rest your left buttock. Working with your right now. So the feet hip distance. Step your right foot back. Square the hips first. Knees slightly out. Tailbone retucked. And breathe. In through the nose. Arms float. Just the scissor arms. As you're moving the arms, keeping the trunk of the body still. Pulling up through the top of the head. Breath in. Out as you open. In. Out. in and rise. 2 more. Feel that back knee goes directly down. Sometimes you might feel it wants to rock in and that tilts the hips. So it's trying to keep the pelvis really level as you lower. So feel the tailbones tucked nice and strong. And now we've got our breath back. We can add in the heel lift, 2 heel raises. So the heel lifts and lowers. Lifts, push up tall. Keep gently squeezing into your bottom to help keep the hips nice and square to the front. You have 4 left. Thinking about the ribs, still holding the ribs down, so you've got that constant work through the upper abdominals, holding that rib cage in place. Check the back knee doesn't collapse inwards. Try and keep the knee outwards. Pull up tall. Last 2, in breath. Breathe out. In. Out to lift. In to lower. Out on your rise. Last 1, in through the nose. Hold. Out through the mouth. In. Out. Hold. Push out your front leg. Squeeze the arms back. Bringing the arms up overhead. Get a nice big stretch into the hip flexor. Try and allow the knee to go a little deeper if you can. Big strong push out the front heel. Back leg really straight as you lift. So that lift comes from the glutes and the hamstrings aren't trying to get involved. So if you squeeze the front of that thigh, helps give a nice strong straight leg. 2 left. Hold your next one. Stay at the top, bring the knee in, and then just lots of extension. So you're trying to get all the muscles through the back of your body working that help to stabilise your spine. Now again, as you reach back with the foot, start to push back into your toes and squeeze your glutes at the same time. 4, 3, 2, and your 1, and step in. And give your legs a shake. Reset your shoulders, soften through the knees, little tuck with the bottom, chin in, and take a forward fold. Just gently rolling forward. Allow yourself to hang here, just for a few seconds. Chins in, crown of the head just hanging, dropping towards the floor. In your own time, bending your knees, walking your hands forward. As you come forward with the hands, placing both knees down to the ground. The opposite arm and leg again. So we're going to work with the right arm and the left leg first. Shoulders need to draw back and the elbows want to point back towards your knees. So it almost corkscrews your shoulder blades together. When you're ready, right arm, left leg, lift, bring the knee and the elbow in, and then extend again. Now, keep the head lifted, so your ears stay aligned with your shoulders. Breathe out through the mouth as you push your fingers forward and squeeze into your bottom as you slide the leg back. Now as you're moving the arm and the leg, you're trying to keep the spine really still. 2 more to the top. Hold this one at the top. Bring your elbow out wide and your knee, and then back into the centre. So from here, the knee comes out to the left, and your arm comes out to the right. Try and rock your weight forward, so your weight still sat into the heel of the hand. And again, as you're moving the arm and leg, nice strong core, so the trunk of your body, nice and still. Last 3. And as we move to the side, that's where we start to challenge our obliques. Holding, resting, hands under shoulders, hips pulled back, and have a little breather. Pull the hips to the heels, let the hands walk forward, press the fingertips down to the floor, and pull the shoulder blades back. When you're ready, we go again. So we come back to our box, left arm, right leg this time. So you're reaching forward, a little lift, and then just gliding, skimming your toe and your little finger along the ground. Now when you lift the arm, it wants to stop in front of your ear, no higher. You've got the length in the neck and the eye gaze fixed down to the ground. Now push back into your toes. Really reach. Try and make yourself a little bit longer every time on your lift. Last two. Holding your next one. Here, come to the side, reach forward. Again, now as you're moving the arm and the leg, you're working really hard to keep the midsection nice and grounded. Maintaining neutral spine all the way through. Ribs and hips still connected. 3 left. 2. And your last one. Reaching, lowering, hands to the centre, knees together and hips. Pull back. Rest through the shoulders, just relax them down. Letting your chest sink down to your thighs. And again, nice big breath right into the back of the ribs. So you feel your ribs expand. And as you breathe out, feel yourself sink a little further back down towards the thighs. From here we can come into our side lying work next. So come in forward and then getting comfortable. And as you get comfortable, aligning ankles, knees, hips, shoulder and your ear. So you can have the underneath arm extended, but don't hold the hand on the floor. Try and turn your palm up so it stops you gripping from here. Starting with your shoulder, we roll that back so it's in set position. And even though you're lying down, you still want to maintain that feeling of drawing the shoulder blades down to the back of the ribs. Ribs are down towards the hips, your tailbone tuck, so you've recreated your square. And then we're going to start with the legs. Take a breath in. Lengthen your top leg and lift. Hold. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lift your bottom leg to meet your top leg. And then a breath in as you lower both legs. So out breath, top leg lifts. Breath in and hold. Breathe out, squeeze the thighs together. And a breath in as you lower. Hand can stay on the floor, or you can bring the hand onto the hip. Now, always have that feeling you're trying to make the top leg a little bit longer. And that's also going to give you that feeling of lifting and holding that bottom rib off the ground. Strong out breath, making sure the ribs don't try and push forwards. Breathing out through the mouth. Breath in as you hold. Strong out breath to squeeze the thighs together. And a slow in breath to release. Up, hold, up, and release. 4 more. 1, squeeze, both down, and again. Now start to really squeeze through the front of the thighs. You've got both legs really strong and straight. 1 last time, making sure that you're still in neutral. Your tailbone's gently tucked, tummy's drawn in, and your double leg lift for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring your legs down. Staying again with your neutral position, bring the hand back to the floor, roll the shoulder back and just lift your top leg. No higher than your hip, so it's aligned, and then let your leg come forwards and then squeeze your bottom to pull it back. Now as you're bringing your leg forward, you're trying to make sure you're not changing the position of your upper body. So you've got the length, your core's engaged, you're breathing in and then breathing out, pull back. Point your toe to come forward and then pull back through the heel. Now you've got the hand on the floor, just bring the leg to the point where you're not pressing into the floor for your balance. Maybe try it with the hand on the hip. Feel how much more you have to work to keep the trunk of the body still. Point the toe, pull back with the heel. Breathing in, out to pull back. 4 more. Maybe bringing it a teeny tiny bit further forwards. And your last one, and lift the leg. So you're going to come into a little knee raise, push the leg up and lower. So we lift, scoop, push and release. 1, 2, 3 and down. Strong, straight leg every time. So you're trying to make the leg a little longer. You're going to make the leg a little stronger, so really squeeze into the front of your thigh. And again, 5 more. lifting, releasing. As you're moving the leg, again, still working really hard to keep the trunk of the body nice and still. Your last one. Hold it at the top. Roll your toe to the floor so your heel points to the ceiling, and then pull your heels back together. So you're just drawing an arch with the foot. You're rolling onto your big toe and pulling back with the heel. Breathing in again as you come forwards. Using that strong out breath to pull back. Now strengthen your bottom leg. Really squeeze that bottom leg. That'll make you feel a little bit more wobbly. You have to use your core a little stronger to keep that trunk stability. And go for your last 3. And again, 2. And your 1. And rest. And then we're going to change over and do that on the other side. So when you're ready, start with the double leg lifts. One leg then the other. But first of all, getting comfy. So everything aligned from the ankles to the ears. Head rested, shoulders rolled back. You can have the hand on the ground, or you can start with the hand on the hip. If the hand's on the hip, just give the hip a little push away from the ribs. If it's not, just try and make your top leg a little bit longer. Shoulders back, eye gaze is forward, and chin is nodded in. Breath in. Out breath, we lift the top leg. We hold and then squeeze the bottom leg up and lower as 1. Lift, hold, squeeze, release. Lift, lengthen, squeeze and release. Breathing out through the mouth and a breath in to release. Now again, as you lift that bottom leg up, really try and get your thighs together. And as you're lifting that bottom leg, pulling the tummy a little bit tighter. And try to keep any tension at your neck and your shoulder. Shoulder always wants to take over. So be very aware that you maintain the set position through the shoulder. And then think about the ribs, making sure they're not flaring forwards. So we've got the shoulder stability muscles working. We've got the upper abdominals working to keep the ribs in place. And the rest of it's with the legs. Slowly down. So up, hold it, squeeze it, and then release. Twice more. Slowly down. And your last one. Both legs stay together. Double leg lifts for 10. Try not to rest. 9, 8, 7. Trying to feel that bottom rib stays ever so slightly lifted off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Top leg lifts. Make the leg longer so again you feel the hip move away from the rib. And you're going to point the toes forward and pull back with the heel. And again, you're just challenging your core muscles to keep the spine still, to keep the ribs and hips connected as you just move the leg in a different plane of movement. Breathe in, out breath, pull back. Again, point the toes and pull back with the heel. Now really start to squeeze the bottom as you pull back. Strengthen that bottom leg. So you can bring that top leg a little bit further. 2 more here. Strong out breath as you pull the leg back and then arch. So roll onto your big toe, keeping the leg straight and then pull back with your bottom. And as you pull the leg back, you'll bring your heels together. So it's almost like coming in to first position for ballet. Bottom leg stays strong and grounded. And again, really try and roll the foot so you get onto the tip of your big toe. Breathing in. Out breath, brace your core as you pull back and watch the shoulder isn't trying to stabilise. Sometimes with the hand here, you really start to notice that you're pressing through the hand. So try to make the hand as light as possible. And if you need to, just make the arch a little bit smaller. 2. And hold it in the middle. Your knee raise, leg extension and lower. Now again, as you're bringing the knee forward, you're trying to maintain that distance between the rib and the hip. What will want to happen is that hip will want to roll forward and collapse in, and we lose that space here. So again, whenever you're moving the leg, Just trying to maintain that space between your ribs and your hips. And letting all the glutes do the work. All the glutes, both of them. Your breath flow with your movement. Always using the out breath with the effort. Because with the out breath, our core switches on more. And again, so you go a little bit higher. Last 3. Lifting and releasing. 2. And your 1. And then you can rest your leg down and turn over. Come face down onto the floor. So as we come face down onto the floor, we're going to stay on our bottom. What we're going to do first of all is bring your big toes together and let your heels roll outwards. Now, from here, hands can come together and rest your forehead on your hands. We set ourselves up in neutral first, so we draw the shoulders back, we draw the tailbone softly down to the heels, and all we're going to do is bring the heels together by squeezing the bottom, and then let the heels roll apart. So here the muscles have lengthened, and then when you bring your heels together, you really have to squeeze your glutes and feel like you're zipping up through your inner thighs. So you're just pivoting on your toes. Breathing in as the heels roll out, and then breathing out, drawing the abdominals in as you bring your heels together. So you're just aware that you're not forcing your belly down into the ground. Then we add in a lift. As you bring your heels together, lift the legs and release. So heels roll together, legs lift, and then release. As your legs lift, you've got to work a little bit harder again to make sure that you're not forcing the tummy back into the ground. The out breath, in breath as you release them. Out with a lift. And this time, if you can, stay with your lifts for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Shoulders draw back. Bring your hands now to your bottom and let your heels roll out. This time your bottom relaxes. With your palms facing the ceiling, you can let your shoulders melt down to the ground. We add a front raise, so we lift the forehead. We lift the breastbone, but we hold neutral. Then we reach the arms out to a wide V. Hands come back towards the bottom, and you relax your shoulders down. So pull the shoulder blades back, lift the forehead, keep drawing the tailbone softly towards the heels. So you're aware that when you lift, again, you're not forcing the belly back into the ground. Now with your heels apart, that should help you to keep your bottom relaxed. So then all the work and the lift comes from the upper back rather than your bottom squeezing. So if you feel you lift to a point your glutes really switch on, then don't go as high. Reduce your range and try to work on letting the bottom rest, letting it relax. Easier said than done, trust me. Last 4. Relaxing the bottom, reaching out with the arms, and the heels just stay rolling apart. And your last 2. And then with your last one here, just allow yourself to lower, bring your hands in just by your ribs and squeeze the elbows back. As you breathe in, you're just going to peel your breastbone now a little bit higher. Try and keep the bottom relaxed as long as you can, and then start to roll up through the spine. Don't force yourself back with the hands, but support your spine with the hands and allow your spine to roll. Breathe in at the bottom. Again, breathe out, lift the forehead, keep lengthening as you lift. Again, and the hands are there to help you get a little bit higher, but don't push yourself through the hands. We're going to go with 4 more. Breath in. Lengthen through the crown of the head, keep the length into the neck, keep the chin just slightly nodded in, and then slowly try and bring each vertebrae down one at a time. Sometimes that temptation is just to lift the head and lift and arch into the neck. But as you keep the eye gaze down and the length into the neck, you should feel much more work then through your back. My counting is appalling. My memory is even worse. I think you have one more after this. But if you've had enough, you can have a rest. And slowly, slowly down. One last time. And then we're just going to take the back into the opposite direction to which it has worked. So hands press into the floor, lift, coming onto your hands and your knees, and then take a nice big cat stretch. You're tucking your tailbone under, having a little look towards the thighs, and then you're pushing your chest forward. So again, your tailbone tucks, your belly lifts. Now keep the arch in your back and try and pull your hips back to your heels. And then come forward. Chest forward and let the glance up. So your cat stretch, belly lifts. Keep the arch in the spine and pull the hips back to get a much deeper stretch then into your lower back. And then push your rib cage forward and let the glance towards the ceiling. Cat stretch, then hips pull back into box position, and then your ribs push forward. And to go with 4 more of those, because my watch has stopped. I'm not sure how much time I've got left. And there's no clock on there either. Brilliant. Oh, there's one up there. Oh, I've got plenty of time for some strong core work. So when you come into your last 1 or 2, then you can take that full sit back into your heels. And again, just let the hips sit as far back as you can. Let the hands come down to the floor. Relax through the shoulders. See if you can walk your hands a little further forward. And then press your fingertips down to the ground. And just looking for that little release around the shoulders now. Keep pulling the hips back. And if you can, walk the fingers a little further forward. And again, I feel like that creates a little bit more stretch too. From here, coming back into the centre. We're going to come into seated. So we're going to come onto our bottoms, and we're just going to have the feet hip distance apart. Then come to our leg extensions. So not having the knees too close, nice big bend of the knees, arms out in front, little tuck under with your tailbone to ease back, and just working with the leg extension. Thighs stay parallel. So when you extend your leg, just physically squeeze the front of your thigh. And as you're moving your leg, you're trying not to let any other part of your body move. So you don't want to drop back as your leg lifts. You have the belly button pressing through to the spine and that little tuck under with the bottom. So it's keeping that constant connection into your lower abs. And then from here, try both legs. Lightly tap your toes and squeeze up through your thighs. Breathing out through the mouth and a breath in. Now really strong through the shoulders and the arms. So you almost feel like you're pressing your hands down to the floor and pulling down to the back of your shoulder blades. Now give me 5 more here. Single legs or double legs. Breathing out with every extension. And your last 2. My dog's about to get squashed. From here, hold the back of the legs. Take a little roll back. And then come forward. And up into your reset. Oh, the legs stay here. So you're breathing in. Don't think you want me to do these. And then breathing out. And the legs are in a V position. Your feet aren't together. So you can get your toes to touch the ground. So you get a nice stretch into your back and your hamstrings. And then roll slowly and hold. Again, the breath in as you roll back. The out breath as you roll forward. In through the nose, push through the heels, and then breathe out through the mouth. So again, one shot over with the legs over the head, so you can press your toes to the floor and gently press back into the heels. And feel how that gives you a nice stretch all the way down the back of your body. And I say nice, I'm being nice. One last time. And then holding here in the centre. So from here you can just keep the hands lightly at the back of the knees, bringing one knee in, then the other, or you can bring the arms back out straight. And you can even work with the opposite arm and the opposite leg. As the arm comes down, it wants to stop in line with your shoulders. So don't let it drop to the floor. So you're trying to control that movement. Make it precise. Strong, straight legs. See if you can bring the heel a little closer to the ground. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Hold the knees, place the feet down and take a little roll back. Walk the feet in towards your bottom, tilt your pelvis back and take a roll up through the spine. In a hip bridge position, so we've got a neutral spine, I want to take this into a hip flexor stretch. So we're going to push the hips a little bit higher than we would do normally to create more length and release here. Then try and tuck under with your tailbone a little, like you're trying to get your hip bones to point back up towards your head. And again, that should help to increase the stretch and the release through your hip flexors. Lots of breath always helps. And then when you're ready, just easing down vertebrae by vertebrae. Knees come together, hands on your ribs, and let's finish with a nice knee roll. Let the knees edge from one side to the other. And as you're letting the knees roll from side to side, main focus is keeping the ribs still, the chin nodded in, so everything from your rib cage and above stays nice and still. Now feet can stay on the floor, or you can bring those knees straight up into tabletop position. The feet, the knees are glued together, and again, as you roll, you want to roll onto your left buttock and feel your right buttock lifts. And then as you roll onto your right, feeling your left buttock lifts. And then to get more stretch, reach away with your toes. It's like you're pushing your toes across the other side of the room. Again, as you're doing this, you're anchoring through the shoulders and the ribs and starting to really stretch and work the muscles through the waist. Breathe out as you pull back. Breath in as you reach across. Out breath to pull back into the middle. A little harder, take it to a double leg extension. Trying to keep both shoulders firm onto the floor. And give me 4 more again, each side. I'll teach me to try as more watch it, won't I? Think about the ribs, head staying nice and still. Again, really challenging those waist muscles to stretch and strengthen. And resting when you finish your last one. Hug the knees in. Take them wide and then pull the knees towards your ribs. Now you can keep the knees here, or you can lift your feet, so the soles of your feet to the ceiling, and then pull your knees down by your rib cage. And as you turn the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling, get a nice back stretch, inner thigh stretch maybe, hamstrings, and definitely into those glutes. So let the knees drop. Have a little rock from side to side. That helps give a little massage through your lower back. That's your reward for your core work, all that back extension work, and all that lovely glute work, which I'll give you another stretch for. So you're going to rest in the centre. Release the feet, place both feet down on the floor and your right foot onto your left thigh. Press your left hip down to the ground. Then when you've got that left hip anchored to the floor, gently push your right knee forward. And what you don't want to feel is that when you push your right knee forward, that your weight rolls over to that right knee. You're doing the opposite, you're pressing the left hip down as you push the right knee away. Now you can then take the hands behind the thigh to hug the knee in, still pressing your left buttock and your tailbone down to the ground. And just by doing that, you'll feel the stretch increases. If you want to increase it more, take the hands onto the shin. So you bend the leg more and take your hands further forward and hug the knee in a little bit more. And then you try and press that left buttock back into the ground one last time. It should be kind of nice, but you're certainly aware of it, but not in too much painful wear. and you like it that much, you want to do it again on the other side. So you're going to place your feet down, your left onto your right, but it's a figure 4. Press the left hip down first, right hip down first, sorry, and then press the left knee forward. So we're always looking for our foundation. Pelvis in a neutral position, hips evenly weighing onto the floor, and as you press the knee forward, that may be enough. Or you can take the hands behind the thigh and give the knee a little bit more of a hug. Once you've got the hands behind the thigh, see if you can press your tailbone back down to the floor. And as you press your tailbone to the floor, what that's doing is bringing you back into neutral spine. So you will feel that it just gives you that little bit of space behind your lower back. And then if you want to go further, hands come through to the shin, take a hold of the front of your shin, and then again, try and press your tailbone back to the floor, so you're trying to find that neutral position again. And keep breathing with it. Breathe really deep into your hips. As you breathe out, try and allow the hips to relax. And then when you're ready, feet come down, both feet onto the ground, take the feet a little further forward, bring the chin to the chest, slide your hands forward and roll up into seated. And then taking the turn over, hands come in with the shoulders, knees back into the hips. Take one more big cat stretch, drawing the belly up nice and high. Bring the chin into the chest, so you're looking back to your thighs. And then again, just pull the hips back, trying to maintain your cat stretch. Keeping the fingertips on the ground. And then when you're ready, come forward and just gently press your chest forward. Then into the centre. When you're ready, just walk the hands back. Roll onto your heels. Lift up the hips. Feet firmly flat on the floor. And knees soft. Tuck in the chin. Now from here, bring your hands to opposite elbows. It's like a little cradle. And then allow your forearms to sink towards the ground. Soft knees, belly's lifted, so the muscles in your tummy supporting your back. And then bring the chin in a little further, look back towards your thighs. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, so you can hang a little deeper. And in your own time, bend the knees, release the arms, and then restack your spine. I can never say spine properly when I'm hungover. Not as in after alcohol hungover, I mean as in forward fold hungover. As you rise, give the shoulders a little roll back. And then give the shoulders a big roll. Take the elbows up. Now again, pull the elbows back behind the shoulder line. Really squeeze into the upper back. So again, just re-engaging the upper back. And keep you nice and upright for the rest of the night. And your one last one. And rest, ladies. Not only rest, but applaud yourselves. Well worked. Another super fast flyby class.